Unspoken Issues.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Unspoken Issues podcast. That's right. School's out for summer, baby. And it's time to discuss the Punisher Summer Special. Number one, coming straight from 1991. I'm 13, just turned 13. And I somehow got my hands on this book, but I don't have it in my collection. I don't know how I got this book, and I'll talk about that here in a few, because I had a really strange deja vu, incorrect recollection moment.
Did you get it at Bombs R Us?
I might have. I might have.
You're either going to get this comic book or I'm going to get a barbed wire shooter.
Please.
I'll get the comic book.
Show me. I want to see the projectile barbed wire. I want to see that. That's a thing, right? That's got to be a thing, right?
I believe that is a real thing. I know that I'm Dean Compton.
Hey, it's Dean over there. There's Darry. He's up there listening to us just blabber on. Go ahead.
Jabbering. But I know that the Bombs R Us stuff is real. They really have conventions for spooks and special ops and stuff.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's for area denial, which is a couple words that I never put together, and they make complete sense when you're looking at a projectile barbed wire weapon.
Like, repel borders. You're like, what does that mean? Oh, got it.
Yeah. I figured it out. Okay, Dean. Hey, I could figure out why you want to talk the Punisher Summer Special, but maybe the audience can't. Why don't you tell them?
What are you talking about?
Welcome, new listeners, by the way, if you don't know why he wants to read the Punisher Summer Special.
I thought that one of the things about the Punisher is we talk about the Punisher being overexposed in the early 90s. And yeah, the Punisher's my favorite guy. We're going to talk about the Punisher a lot. And he honestly is an important character from the start to the end of the 90s, albeit in different ways, partly for the boom, partly for the crash, partly for stuff that's cool, partly for stuff that's cruel. Just depends on where you are in the timeline or your opinion on gun-toting vigilantes, I reckon. But we talk about overexposure of the Punisher, which was true, but it's normally pointed out in guest star appearances. That's normally the metric that people utilize. But there were just a lot of Punisher books that were just Punisher books. And here's one of them. They put out a Punisher Back to School special. I know they do at least 3 of them, maybe 4. This is summer special. Then they do Back to School specials. There's Christmas specials. There was just a lot of Punisher stuff going on at the time, and it's fun to kind of see the edges of it. And we're recording this in late May. It's baseball season. This is about the time it's going to hit the shelves. Summer, historically, a big time for comic book shops. And they had this one right there, right as the kids got out of school. Do you have $2.50 American? Boy, do we have some sordid tales of vigilante violence for you.
Sure.
I want to talk about, I had this comic. I bought it in 1993. At a Comic-Con, the comic book show in Little Rock. I bought this whole box of Punisher comics for $20. There was 50 Punisher comics in there, and like Semper Fi and a couple Sergeant Rocks. I don't fucking know. They were just in there, whatever. Yeah, Sergeant Rocks. An Enemy Ace. There was an Enemy Ace special. Love Enemy Ace. And I've probably read this comic 130 times. Probably
It's interesting because
it's a fun comic book, and it just reminds me of when I was getting into this stuff, and when I was, oh my gosh, a big box of Punisher comics, and I was entertained all winter. So I got this in late August. It was a little late for the summer special, but combine it with the old back to school special, and we're doing it. We're kind of over the next few, I guess, years, if this thing keeps going. We'll just do these in their time. We'll do the summer special now, back to school special in August, and a Christmas special around then, and we'll kill 2 birds, 1 stone. We'll talk about the Punisher, and we'll kind of be keeping up with where things were headed in real time as far as the character goes, and also art trends and writing trends and stuff. I think those are all the reasons. Plus, Frank Castle's the best, and if you disagree, you're wrong, man. There's nobody better.
Or if you agree, but for the wrong reasons.
Then that's worse. Yeah. That's worse than disagreeing. Yeah. That's God in the Bible where he's, listen, come to me cold or come to me hot. Come to be lukewarm, I'll spit you out. That's the worst you can do. That's the worst. The worst thing you can do is Frank Castle for the wrong reasons, which we will talk about in regard to this, because some of this has not aged well at all. In fact, it has aged poorly. In fact, not only has it aged poorly, it was shit-ass bullshit at the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, Darry,
we understand why it happened, but it was still shit-ass bullshit.
Right. I can't wait to talk about that story either, because
that's the main event.
Yeah,
that's
it is.
Shawn
really.
Michaels, Bret Hart of this motherfucker.
Right. Right. Darry, it's 91. Man, I know this is before you're collecting comics. Is it before you're alive? It's definitely not before you're alive.
No. I was around. I definitely would have gotten this, but I did not, unfortunately. I don't know why. But
it's $2.50. That might.
Yeah, that honestly might have been it. Listen, I'm not
you
gonna
could have
lie.
gotten 2 comic books because a regular comic was $1.25 at the time. You could get 2 for 1, even though it probably was actually better page-wise to get this. But as a kid, you wouldn't think about that.
Yeah, no ads too. So I don't know, but I got to be honest with you. If on the cover the Punisher is throwing a guy into another guy, if one of those guys had been Spider-Man, I definitely would have picked this up.
Oh, yeah.
But as they were just normal mobster Goombas, I think I probably passed on it. But I wasn't aware of this until Dean mentioned it, but I loved it. I finished it, and then I read it again. It took me back, and it was great. It was a good done in one, got your money's worth. I read my stack from this week, and this is probably the best one.
I don't hear that. Speaking of the cover, does your version, this is the first time I've seen this. Maybe it's a little more common than I know, but there's eyes in the skull on his shirt.
Yeah, I don't think that usually happens. I think it's just an artistic thing here. Yeah. Maybe because it's the summer special, and as the cover also lets you know, they're crazy from the heat.
They are crazy from the heat.
Crazy from the heat. It's hot out here.
And I don't think...
I remember when I lived in Philadelphia, the summer we were there, because we left in early September of 2019. I lived in a townhouse in Port Richmond, and people got fucking nutty during the summer. This one dude just painted his face with paint, house paint, and just sat on his steps and drank Bud Dry until he passed out. Or Bud Ice until he passed out.
What?
And he was one of my favorite neighbors.
Wow.
Other people, these people down the road, all of a sudden they start having dirt bike races. What the fuck is happening? People in the city go fucking nuts when it gets hot. Don't let them tell you different.
I believe it. Our cover here really doesn't tie in too much in with the stories we're going to get, but it's the Punisher doing Punisher things. Yeah. He's going up against some evildoers, and he's getting the better of them. What more do you expect?
Right.
You're picking this book up. What do you want? You want Punisher doing Punisher things. And really, that's all you get in here. Dean, you talked about how you've read this over and over.
Oh, yeah, easily 120 times, 150 times.
It's honestly just the Punisher doing his thing. There's no other appearances from anybody, as far as I can tell, that's been well known either in the Marvel universe or the Punisher universe. Anybody that looks like they're big deals end up dying.
I mean honestly, this has more of a Punisher Max or Epic feel, except for possibly the second story, in that it seems kind of a lot of grotesque things kind of happen, and it's very in your face violent. And some of the violence is visceral in a way that I don't know that it was in the monthly books at the time. Not 5 steps past, but maybe 3/4 or a step past what they were doing. Frank Castle would pretend to torture people in Punisher Warzone. And this one, he just shoots a guy with a barbed wire gun. Still code approved. The code, God bless them. I don't know what the fuck they did at this time.
But to be fair, the code in 1991, 92 was kind of running on fumes.
Well, that's what that was what I was getting at. I don't even know what that would mean in 91, but apparently this was still okay for kids.
Bombs Are Us, script by Pat Mills, Tony Skinner. Val Merrick on the pencils, Armando Gill on inks, Pat Brousseau on letters, and Ed Lazzolari on colors. All right, here we go. In the shadowy, I wouldn't call it shadowy. Seemed was out there, right there in the middle of the day, bright as day. Corners of the covert and international security exhibition, a gathering of clandestine minds and high-powered weaponry. Frank Castle, the Punisher, prowls with purpose. As he navigates through the maze of deadly gadgets and covert technology, his sharp eyes caught sight of an old, frenemy. These guys seem like they go back to the war, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like they were in Vietnam together.
Colonel Desaad, right? Colonel?
Colonel Desaad.
Colonel Desaad, one of the best names.
Colonel Desaad, a man whose name was synonymous with torture and cruelty. Desaad, with his chilling demeanor, was clearly up to no good. Frank's instincts screamed at him to follow, and for 4 days he shadowed the Colonel's every move. The tension snapped the taut wire when Desaad's gang hit a bank. Amid the chaos, Desaad's sadistic streak surfaced as he menaced a female customer, slicing through her hair with a wicked grin. The robbery was cut short by a hasty retreat and the Punisher clinging to the van's roof. A high-speed chase ensued, leading to an electrifying confrontation, literally. As Frank leaped from the van, a jolt of electrified water hit him. By the way, the van got electrified, and then the stream of water got electrified, knocking him to the ground. Desaad's men overwhelmed him with plastic bullets, not before he got a few good shots at himself, and then drag him into an alley. Bound in a straitjacket, Frank endures electric shocks from, which is, I think, a souped-up cattle prod.
Looks like a cattle prod, yeah.
Until he summons the strength to break free. In a whirlwind of violence, Frank turns the tables. Grabbing one of Desaad's own weapons, he unleashes a coiled, barbed wire that ensnares the sadistic colonel. Gas leaking ominously from the van, and with a final act, a defiant act, Frank allows the gas to ignite, walking away as Desaad's laughter turns into a death rattle amid the flames. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Bombs are us. Darry, you're first, buddy. Listen, I know you frequent all the
gun shows. All the gun shows. Every gun show.
This is beyond a gun show, though.
Yeah. I love this guy, Colonel Desaad. I love the name, right, from the Marquis Desaad. I love the whole thing. I love that he shows up to the gun convention dressed like that. And for those of you who haven't read the issue, he is dressed in full 17th century dandy. He's even got his cigarette in a holder. He's a complete cartoon. It's lovely. He's walking around getting the most messed up stuff you could possibly buy, all the guns, all the cool stuff. And then later on, we see what his grand plan is, and it's just to rob a bank, the most generic bank in the worst part of town. There's no highfalutin ideas. He's not blowing up an embassy or anything like that. He still dressed as a dandy, complete with the ruffled neck, goes in, does a bunch of stuff, and then Frank just takes him out in the most generic way possible. And I love it because, again, Punisher is one of the characters that you could drop into almost any situation. He can go up against the most ridiculous people, and as long as it's okay morally to shoot them, you are going to be entertained. And I was entertained reading this thing.
Sure. Dean, I got Punisher Armory vibes just a little bit because of all this cool weaponry. It's not a breakdown we get in the Armory, but there's you could just see the Punisher going through this and picking out some of the cool things. Not only we open this thing up with him talking about how he's targeting some criminal who ate a microchip something or other, and then this rocket tracks it to the guy.
It's barium bomb.
Barium bomb, that's what it was.
BMB.
It was good stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to be a sharpshooter. He's gonna find the target thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the grenade launcher he picks up. I wish I could have one.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool as hell. If I had that grenade launcher, I'd just have it. I really wouldn't do much of anything with it. I just have it.
I'd be just like, hey, I got this grenade launcher.
I got the grenade. I'd load it when somebody showed up and they were supposed to be here. I'm like, hey, I got this grenade. I'll shoot you with this grenade.
You understand,
they'll be like, oh, fuck, what the fuck is that grenade? I'm like, yeah, I'm not messing around. I get out of my house. Like, oh my God, I'm leaving immediately. I was like, you're probably leaving this county.
Get the hell out.
He's on a grenade launcher. It's like all of those pictures of the Punisher, like shooting the bazooka through a window that he's hanging on to. What's your plan here? Doesn't matter. I'm going to figure this out later. I also like the part where Colonel Desaad points out that rubber bullets are actually really dangerous. During the George Floyd protests, a reporter got their eye put out with one, and people are, get killed with one. Like, it's a euphemism. They want you to think that these things are safe, that these pacification efforts are, that's what we usually call them, like, oh, we're trying to help. And they're actually pretty much just as deadly as the others, just only sometimes. Good on them for pointing that out. Punisher, the old dislocate my shoulders so that I can get out of a straitjacket trick. Make fingers my lethal weapon. No big deal.
That's right. That's right.
And yeah, it's very brutal. He leaves him to die in an exploding pool of gas, which we think that's what he deserves. And it's fun to see Castle just constantly tell this guy, just shut the fuck up, because he's into this beauty of pain, and Punisher's like, I'm just trying to kill people, bro. I'm trying to kill criminals. There's nothing great about this. There's no grand design. One of them will get me one day. He's like, you see my art? Yeah, he's gonna shoot you with a barbed wire projector.
I love it when Punisher 2, he goes up against all these people who are him, but a different path. We always say the great tragedy of Frank Castle isn't that he he had to do all of this once he was put in a particular position, that he lost everything. It's that, as far as he was concerned, his family saved him, right? He had a very dark time during the military, during his war, during everything else. And then he comes home and he gets married and he has a family, and he's as dedicated to them as anyone has ever been. And then when he loses them, the excuse goes away and he reverts to the one thing he's always been very good at. And I love seeing him face someone else who walked that path. Assad embraces violence for the sake of violence. And if he ever had a family or whatever else, they didn't change him. They didn't make him want to strive for normalcy or strive for something that would allow him to continue. He's just out here shooting people, just dealing out violence, just getting off on that. I always think that's very interesting for Frank to go up against someone like that and say, no, I'm not you. And I know that I'm not you. And I know the reasons that I'm not you. Here is some barbed wire to the face. But, it helps show you why the Punisher is unique. He's not just this one note guy. He doesn't just shoot people. There's a reason he does it. And that reason is constantly being reinforced by those he does shoot.
Mm-hmm.
It's even worse than him just shooting people because he's actively engaged in weird psyops against the general population. This lady, this was 1991, she actually had to go to the bank for everything. She's probably just trying to get some pennies rolled or something, like she had too many dimes. And that's what you did then. You went there and had it done. Why would you take this out on her? Why are you fucking with her? If you're going to fuck with somebody who deserves it. That's what Frank Castle's like. So I appreciate that a lot. But that's the thing. It's even worse than if this guy was just like a regular psycho. He's extra. He could be a Batman villain. That's how extra this guy is.
The other standout moment for me in this story is the banana peel, where the guy, Assad yells, "The banana peel," and out comes frictionless confetti, which is low friction plastic confetti used for area denial. That's right.
Area denial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had his own battle van.
That's got to be something.
I would have rather seen if that guy had a battle van. They should have had a battle van battle. I don't know if we've ever seen a really cool battle van battle where Punisher drives his van against somebody else's super van.
That'd been the shit, man. That'd been awesome. All right. Okay. Well, next up.
Remember on the Spider-Man cartoon when he can command the battle van with his voice?
Yes, I do.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, I do.
Nice.
They need to make a Marvel Legends of that Punisher.
Yeah, with headband.
Yeah, with the headband and the non-lethal force. Because that's what they say on it. It's like, he's not like the other vigilantes. He uses lethal force. I love it.
Oh, man. All right. Cross Purposes. Script by Peter David. Some might have heard of that guy. This other guy, breakdowns by Mark Tex Teixeira on breakdowns, Michael Baer on finishes, Phil Felix on letters, and friend of the show, Gregory Wright on colors.
Good old Greg, man. Shout out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right. In a dimly lit restaurant.
Because it looks badass. All of it looks badass here. It's the best. It's probably the best drawn and colored of all four stories.
100%. In a dimly lit restaurant, mobster Simon Bartlett sat with his entourage and his son Joel.
What a fucking non-mobster name.
Joel.
Joel and what is it? Bartlett.
Joel Bartlett.
Is it what is he? What is he in the Dixie Mafia? What the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's hard to do some Italian ties to that, but all right, whatever. Unbeknownst to them, Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, lurked in the shadows, poised to deliver his brand of justice. As far as shadows go, he was sitting at the table about 3 tables away. But nobody knew who this guy was. Well, not just yet. As Simon berated his son over business failures, Frank silently readied his weapon. But fate intervened in the form of a drive-by rocket attack. The explosion rocked the restaurant, killing Simon and leaving Frank pinned under debris. In a surprising twist, Joel, the son of his intended target, pulled Frank from the wreckage and offered him shelter. Conflicted, Frank followed Joel home. The family welcomed Joel with open arms, and later Joel and Frank shared a tense conversation. Suspicion lingered as Frank questioned Joel's convenient absence during the bombing. He had to go to the bathroom. Joel insisted he was
different. You gotta go.
Right, right.
Hey, listen, just because a bomb's going off outside doesn't mean that you don't need to drop a bomb somewhere else.
Anyway.
I'm just saying. One doesn't have anything to do with the other.
I don't know if we saw a panel where the rocket actually hit the restaurant. It might have actually been Joel that blew the restaurant up.
No, I mean, we see those guys, and they're, here's our insurance policy. Ba, 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 with the Uzi. They don't like these.
Yes, sir. Joel insisted he was different from his father and wouldn't abandon Frank to die. Their exchange was cut short by Lonnie, a hulking bodyguard who actually survived the blast as well, who burst into the room. A brutal fight ensued, ending
like
with
the absorbing boy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. A brutal fight ensued, ending with Frank driving a broken bottle into Lonnie's face. With his family cowering nearby, Joel stood ready to face death for his father's sins and his own. But the Punisher showed uncharacteristic mercy, firing warning shots around Joel and leaving him with a grim ultimatum: change or die. There you go. That is Crossed Purposes, which, by the way, the inside, well, I shouldn't say it's the inside cover, where they break down all the stories and the creative teams for each one. Every single one of those Punisher emblems are going to be one of my profile picks here.
Did you see? How about that inside cover?
Yeah.
Oh, the inside cover.
Yeah, I actually took this off so that I could hang it up. Because the inside cover is this glowing Punisher skull. It's on black, and then it's like there's like searchlight, spotlight, super laser close encounters of the third kind shit coming out of it.
Yeah, as far as special, and they put the word special in the title of this book, it actually means something. There's a lot of things that are sticking out, especially we were talking about on the cover, the inside cover. I already talked about how I want to make pogs out of these Punisher emblems.
Yeah, I'm actually going to buy some Punisher pogs soon. Watch out.
Oh,
yeah, I think not having ads is also a pretty big deal. It's pretty straight. That makes it feel more special as well.
Right.
I know sometimes when we read these, especially if we're not reading them physically or we're reading them reprinted, there's no ads. But you compare this to 2 comic books that you've got 2 regular issue Punisher issues. It also feels like, because there's no ads, it feels like you get more bang for your buck. And since there's 4 stories that come to definitive conclusions with super cool deaths and stuff, except for one, which is a super cool non-death, but it has a really cool death as well. It does feel like, they really brought it here in a way that a lot of times specials don't feel. When they feel like, hey, man, here's some inventory stories. Enjoy.
Yeah.
right. Well, Dean, I'll go ahead and throw it to you first. Anything specific about cross purposes here?
This is one of those great Punisher stories where one of the coolest things about Frank Castle is there's still a little hint of humanity in there when he admires a good plan that a bad guy comes up with, or fights side by side with an enemy because there's a bigger fish, or deals with Spider-Man or whatever. For Daredevil, he's like, I can't really shoot these guys. This one shows that little spark of humanity where he's like, well, listen, this guy did just save my life. Now, sometimes it's cool when somebody saves the Punisher's life and he just stabs him in the throat immediately. But I think from Enos on, we've gone too far in that direction. There's a really cool part to the Punisher where he, it's not necessarily where he remembers what it's like to be human, but he remembers that maybe some of these people that he shoots are human. Mm-hmm. And if this guy is going to do a human thing, maybe he should do a human thing back. And I feel like we lost a little of that with the Punisher over the last 20 some odd years. It's great to see it here where he's like, yeah, I will judge you, and the sentence is death, but I'll suspend it. It's not like he said he wouldn't kill you. It's like,
that's right.
Suspend it. A suspended sentence. You get in trouble, we can throw this back on you at any time. And I believe that I don't think we ever see this guy again. I think he did get more involved in the legitimate businesses he was probably already a part of. And he divested himself of any unscrupulous behavior. I think he's tired of the life. And one of the only ways to get out also would be like, hey, you know what happened? Yeah, he got out, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's go ice him for this. He's the Punisher's friend, right? The Punisher showed up and didn't kill him, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll just let this guy be. I think that was also part of his plan, was it's not bad to be associated with the Punisher. It's later on when the Punisher in John Ostrander's run where he makes him the mob boss and he goes to the meeting with the families and they're getting mad. And Tombstone's, I think this may mean a war. And he's like, Punisher's just like, you want to sit across the table and talk to me, Frank Castle, about a war? And he's like, maybe not. I think that was also part of the plan. It's a really fun story with lots of really great action. It's the best drawn story of the whole thing. Gruesome death with the bottle, little gunplay, bada bing, bada bam. You're in and you're out. It's really funny.
My one note about this is when I was reading this story, I immediately sent you guys a message because I stopped in the middle of this and swore to myself that this was done before. There is
the
a
porn
Lonnie
rapid
fight.
memory joke.
Yeah, Punisher, Lonnie busts in, and he's, I remember who you are now, because he started getting an idea of who it was at the restaurant. The restaurant blows up, and then we didn't realize Lonnie's still alive. He busts in, and he's, I remember you're the Punisher.
Like, Phil Donahue? No. No, it's not Phil Donahue.
I never forget a face. I got one of those, what do you call them, pornographic memories. I got to get one of those. Okay, now the point I'm bringing, the reason why I'm bringing this up is I do not own this book, but I remember this joke. And I remember reading it in school and I'm 13 years old. I think I'm in 8th grade, 7th grade, and I'm having a riotous time about the fact that this guy says pornographic memory. Stuck with me for 23 years.
You know, how do I work this into a conversation so I can say this cool thing?
33 years later. Oh, I've actually done that. I'm sure
Of course you have, Jesse. Of course you have. I bet you were like, you're like, oh, hey, man, that's Impact. I got one of them, what do you call them? Pornographic. That's from Cyberforce number 22. Probably what happened. Oh, man. That's Ripclaw right there.
I thought this was a panel that happened in Circle of Blood, the original miniseries, and couldn't find it. Immediately went over there and started looking, and I could not find this.
Did it happen in Cyblade Origins?
Now I could get those confused. You never know.
I don't know. I was asking.
But anyway, that was my one moment where somehow I remember this joke. I don't own the comic, and that's usually kind of rare, which means someone had this comic in my 7th grade class and shared it with me, and I read it, and it stuck with me ever since then.
God bless whoever that is.
Yeah. It's funny because myself, I can only remember 3 or 4 people in school that read comics. Everybody else was definitely not talking to me about comics, I'll tell you that much.
There were 10 or 11 of us in 7th grade who read comics, although most of us would fall off pretty quickly. And I remember we started a comic book club. We met at lunch and talked about comic books, but all they ever wanted to talk about was the death of Superman. They never wanted to talk about anything else. And it was 3 months after the death of Superman, and I was like, I just quit.
You left?
I left. I quit. I was the president. I quit.
Wow.
I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I was like, this is months of just, oh man, Superman, Doomsday. I'm like, hey, are you guys ready to do this Ghost Rider? Oh, fuck, Superman, Doomsday. Valiant books are pretty hot, right? Oh, my God, man, Superman, Doomsday. I'm like, hey, have you heard about the Venom Black cover? It's apparently really rare. Beautiful for a friend, bro. You ever hear of that? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Well, glad you found some friends in 90s comics with the Unspoken Decade. I can tell you. Seriously. I can tell you that. Taking a look to see when Teixeira's what his early work was, because this is 91. He been around.
Ghost Rider around this time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh man, what did he do some work for Megaton?
What is Megaton?
It's where Gary Carlson published it. It had Savage Dragon was in it. It was
yeah. I remember that book now. Okay.
Mark Teixeira might have been one of the people on that. I just got the archives of it. It's really fun to read. Especially, it's got a couple of Youngblood house ads in it, and for stuff that didn't come out, but some very, very interesting things. In a different world, we might be talking about things in a much different way. One of the things he says is he was trying to do this big anthology book, and he's like, in hindsight, I should have, like, me and Eric Larson just should have done a book about one thing. He's like, he was much better than a lot of. I'm trying to juggle 8 stories to publish one book, and he thought it was going to have variation, but in hindsight, he's like, we should have just done a book.
Yeah, Tex's earliest work here, according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics, was actually 10 years earlier. Yeah,
Jesse and him going steady.
Yeah.
I just see the covers and how he signs them, brother.
Okay,
that's all.
right.
Oh, Tex. Okay.
But yeah, 81.
That's Mr. T to you, Darry.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that was in 81. He was penciling Ghosts from DC Comics.
Yeah, that's right. It sucks. No, it's pretty good stuff. I love that shit.
Masters of the Universe 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
For DC or Star?
That was for DC.
Okay.
DC Comics. And then, have you guys ever heard of Hex from 85?
I was about to say.
Oh, yeah.
Hex on Hex.
Yep. Hex on Hex. All right. Okay.
Also, very interesting. There's a baseball player named Mark Teixeira.
Yeah,
And he
yes.
played first base for the Braves and the Yankees and the Texas Rangers. Switch hitter, pretty good player. I don't know if he's going to be the Hall of Fame. Probably make the Hall of Very Good.
Literally the only reason I know how to actually pronounce his name now.
Right,
because
because
motherfucking
I used to be Mark Texeria, or some bullshit like that. But Mark Teixeira. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, ESPN.
Thank you, Major League Baseball.
Yes, sir.
For one of millions of things. Appreciate you. My Royals are good right now. Let me get that in.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
to hear.
they're really good. They're really good right now.
Nice.
They might not be later. Are you a Cleveland fan, Jesse? You like the Guardians?
I pay attention half-heartedly, but
they're really good right now too.
That's good.
The Yankees are good too.
All right.
If we get to the playoffs, we'll have to have a bet.
I'm down. I'm down. All right, next up, Independence Day. My goodness, there are some fun names. Dan Slott on the script. Ike Harris on pencils. Jimmy Palmiotti on inks. Bill Oakley on letters and Joe Rosas on colors.
Dan Slott, soon to be of Ren and Stimpy fame.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh my goodness.
I have a full episode I recorded on the Earthworm Jim series that Dan Slott did, and I think it was only 3 issues. Earthworm Jim. I don't know if you guys ever played that when he was a kid, but
I never did, but I'm aware of it.
Yeah, it's some irreverent humor. In the ruins of a condemned waste disposal site, Detective Mack was on a relentless hunt. His prey, the notorious, at least he's got a flyer at the police office, murderer Ray Hammond, who skulked.
A murderer's name if I've ever heard one.
I agree. Who skulks in the shadows. Mack's gun roared, but fate played a cruel trick as a bullet struck a pipeline spewing, corrosive waste. It was bad. And whatever it was, it's a waste disposal place. It got on his face and it rocketed right on there, right into his eyes. Blinded and vulnerable, Mack felt the cold sting of a knife as Ray slashed his back. Overhead, though, the Punisher watched. A silent guardian angel. Frank's presence startled Ray.
Don't bring Angel Punisher into this.
Uh-oh.
Angel Punisher, unless we were specifically talking about that. Hot take, not as bad as people say.
I hear you.
Worse.
Oh,
it would be perfectly fine if it just wasn't about the Punisher. That's it. It would be perfectly fine comics. There's no dumb ideas or anything dumber than anything. It just doesn't make sense for the Punisher.
Frank's presence as he jumps down startles Ray, who flees in terror. He's big guy, then all of a sudden he sees the skull and he drops the knife and he takes off. Mack, though, collapses. I think his words were, "Don't let him get away," and then just passes out. Exhaustion overtaking him. Days later, as Mack returns to his precinct, a package awaits him. As he opens it, he realizes that it is a severed finger. As he takes the finger over to the bulletin board to Ray's rap sheet, grabs the fingerprint ink, and sure enough, the match is there. The finger was Ray's. Justice, though delayed, had been delivered by a vigilante's unseen hand. There you go. There you go. I'm going to start things out here. Just say that this is my favorite story in this book. And I think a lot of it is because it's almost wordless. There's definitely a little bit of dialogue, but you can read this multiple times, and it kind of requires you to do that, because unless you're taking your time panel by panel and picking everything apart, the second look at this, I didn't realize that our police protagonist here is first panel at his desk. They're celebrating 4th of July. All of his coworkers are out there looking at the fireworks while he's grabbing a picture, which I assume is his wife. And there's a little black piece of cloth at the top. To me, that signifies that she died. She's passed, and I assume possibly Ray Hammond here.
He's the one who killed her. Well, at one point, people in the background say it was his wife.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was his wife. It does say that there. Mac, what's with him? It was his wife. The one who was and then killed. That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at his rap sheet, if you read that rap sheet, murderer, rapist, armed robbery, it's all right there. Yeah, you're right. It is kind of stated. But again,
he downloaded stuff off LimeWire too.
That's on the back. That's actually why Frank killed him. It's pretty fucking crazy. Piracy doesn't pay people.
You wouldn't download a Punisher, man.
Anyway, I liked it. I do the coloring of this one. It kind of stands out. It's a little bit different from the rest. It seems like there's some choices there purposely made as to how things are coming across on the page and the coloring that was used. It was good. I mean, it was, there wasn't much to it. It's not like, you're getting into, you understand everything. Punisher's just there. He just happens to be there, and he watches this guy go after this criminal, and he follows up on it, and he fucking makes the criminal pay, and at least we get a happy ending. We don't get to see any of that. We just get to see this guy finally go back to the office and see that this criminal's been taken care of, and he can rest assured the Punisher killed his ass. All right. That's all I have.
I like stories where the Punisher is more a force of nature than he is a character. You mentioned before there's very little dialogue here, and I feel like that's difficult to get right. Because not only do you have to really rely on the artist, and the artist is very capable in this situation, but each panel's got to tell a story, and it has to be designed that way. And I love the way the Punisher is used here, because he's just... You see the skull, right? You see it. You know what's common. There's no other character this could possibly be. You know what that means. It's a very visceral reaction. And again, it's Punisher, but it has almost a good, happy ending. People forget, but he used to do weird superhero stuff. It's this is the Punisher's way. It's hyper violent, but the cop gets what the cop's been trying to do for a while. So I really enjoyed this. This whole thing, this entire anthology book is just one story after the next of done in one, doesn't connect to anything else, isn't part of the ongoing, but is a really satisfying reflection of the character and pretty much at his peaks. This was another one where it's just a lot of bad thing to say about this. I think this should be reprinted every year. This is just the quality type of Punisher stories. This could be an episode of his television show or something like this. It's just well done. And it's really a testament to the craft, because we said there's almost no words, and it's one thing when it's a gimmick, but it's another thing where it's I probably didn't even notice it the first time I read it, because it's good at what it does, and you get through it and you get to the end and you're like, oh, that was a great story, and it was, oh shit, there was almost no dialogue.
Yeah All right, Dean.
Well, it has a really incredible RoboCop feel.
Ooh.
You remember the part of RoboCop at the end where they're in the industrial place and the guy gets turned into liquid goo? It's almost like those guys are fighting there. It's got the great splash page where the Punisher jumps out. It's also cool how the Punisher tells him where the guy is, but lets him get first crack. He's like, I know what happened. Like, let's see, if you take him in or do whatever, you do whatever. But if you don't, I got your back, without saying anything. This is a really good story, but it's a really sad one too. Not only because he lost his wife, and this is obviously the basis for the story 7, but what's in the box?
Oh shit!
What's in the box?
The finger.
I was story 7. Oh shit! I should have known better.
Dean's a raptor. He comes at you from the sides. You don't expect it. He doesn't confront you head on. He's gonna make you think. He's gonna build it up, and then bam, you're there. You're in the middle of it. You're speechless before you even know what happened.
Clever girl.
Clever. That's what he is in my phone, by the way. Whenever he texts me, it says, "This is clever girl, anarchist rant, clever girl, Punisher fan art, clever girl,
what can I say?
Hero Illustrated."
This is a very, very sad story because this is the death of the guy with the knife at Madison Square.
Oh, come on! You're not killing him here. You can't kill him.
This was him. This is how he went out. He wasn't a great guy, but he had a lot of great adventures, and the Punisher killed him. And this is it. You see him with the knife. He doesn't have any problem with the cop.
Oh.
Ray Hammond, metal fan, Carnage lover, knife carrier.
You're not going to be able to name everything. Just stop while you're in.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. This was it. He wasn't going to beat the Punisher. And in his honor, we will retire that joke. We will have a new joke soon.
Oh, my goodness. All right.
R.I.P. to the guy from Madison Square Garden with the knife. He died doing what he loved, having a knife.
Not even using the knife, just having it. Just
stabbed a little stabbing. He, as always, was ready to go.
Ready to go.
Rest in peace. I did not see that fucking happening tonight. I didn't see him die. I didn't see the death of the knife guy. Oh, it's
but isn't it
sideways? You don't see it coming.
But isn't it perfect? Can't you see it now that, this was the guy with the knife? Just what does he do with the story? He has a knife. He looks haggardly and raggedly and scaggeredly. And
that's how you want to go out, right? You want to be taken out by a top tier. You don't want to.
Yeah, Captain Ultra didn't take this guy to jail. Shooting Star didn't deal with him, right? Living Lightning didn't electrocute him. That
would have been great. Could you imagine if Living Lightning was? I accidentally electrocuted a guy once because I didn't realize he was carrying a giant metal knife, and I had to hide the body and hope no one noticed. That would actually be great.
Well, yeah. Especially if the Punisher helped. He's like, yeah, who cares? He was a bad guy. I got this.
Yeah, got it. Don't worry about it. So you killed him. Yeah. Yes, I know. I was there.
Great. I was about to.
Yeah.
Now I'll get home half an hour earlier, and I just signed up for an A-Team DVD deal. They just sent me disc 1.
One of the things I love about the Punisher, and I love almost everything about the character, is his caption boxes, his internal monologues are amazing, because many characters, Batman will be going over the story and everything else, or Spider-Man's woe is me, and Superman's, why can't y'all just get along? And Punisher is just like, I got to buy bullets. And I got to buy different bullets, and Microchip better have ordered those bullets. And it's not a reflection on that he doesn't have an internal monologue. It's that he's not conflicted in the same way the other characters are. It's I have a code. It is strict, and it is Old Testament, and it comes from my Catholic upbringing and my years of military experience. And if you break that, I'm going to murder you, and I'm going to sleep fine this evening. No questions asked. Even if I've never met you before, if you did something bad, that's that. And one of the things this story does really well is, again, it doesn't even give you that much because you don't need it. The character has gotten to the point where he can just show up, he can be a force for nature, and he can move on. Dean mentioned before, a lot of these stories resemble the later Punisher Max book, and he's absolutely right, because that's what those books did well. So that book ran forever. And one of the reasons was you didn't spend a lot of time with Frank. You did when you needed to, if there was something that affected him personally. But for the most part, it was, here is an awful, awful person that you want to see die in the worst way possible. And then by the end of the story, they do die in the worst way possible. It's just like, it's cathartic and it's wonderful. And there's a precursor here of you're seeing all these people being like, all right, I can do anything as long as the Punisher kills a guy. How can I make that interesting? And there's a reason Punisher's one of the top 10 most successful Marvel characters of all time. And he just is by any metric. It's who really tops him.
I also like in his internal monologue that he does what drag queens call reading. He's always, I'm at this heavy metal concert. They say if it's too loud, you're too old. Just call me Methuselah. He reads guys for filth. He'll be there's Big Lonnie. Thinks that muscle makes him bad. He's got a lot of it. Bad won't stop a bullet. Boom, just like thought he was the smartest guy in the room. Now he's the smartest corpse in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to get into the main event.
Oh, you ain't kidding. The main event.
Yeah. All right.
The pain event.
All right. So this next story, the fourth and final story that we're going to get into here, is titled Wish Granted. And first off, Will Murray wrote the script. And I just want to give you a really quick Mike's Amazing World of Comics bio for Will Murray. Unless, Dean, this Will Murray right off the top of your head?
I know he's co-created Squirrel Girl, and he did a lot of work with pulps. He wrote Destroyer. He wrote some stuff. He wrote Doc Savage, or he wrote something about Doc Savage. He's been around a lot, though. He's written everybody from Superman to Spider-Man 2 in dribs and drabs.
I'm trying to find a justification as to what we're going to get in this story in his history, and there's not really one.
No.
There's not really one.
It's sad now because this story is like so Islamophobic, but it's hard to describe the patriotic fervor of 1990 and 1991. And I remember, and it's weird to say, and I could almost tear up talking about it, but I remember the first night we dropped bombs on Baghdad, and Peter Arnett and it was Bernard King or something reporting for CNN from the hotel, and we're watching them drop these bombs. We ordered pizza and watched the world's most advanced military, a coalition of dozens of countries, just blow the shit out of this city,
right, dude,
against a bunch of people who couldn't do anything. And then now later, I'm friends with people. I'm friends with a lady who was there. She was my age, and she was there, and she remembers watching the ground disappear in front of her, and somebody grabbed her because they were shooting it with a big Gatling gun. And it's just weird to think that my friend almost got blown away in a war over nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And we ordered pizza and watched it on TV.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's kind of emblematic of everything that's wrong with the world.
I can't argue there. And when you talk about the warped sense of patriotism, we leaned right into that, just kind of exactly what you're talking about there. When you look at this story and where it's listing our creative team, what do you see? A fucking Punisher skull. It's not just black and white anymore. It's the American flag.
Yep.
And I've seen that shit on trucks of people that I don't fucking like very well.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Absolutely. Now it's very much a Nazi emblem now. And at the time, though, it was everywhere. I had a shirt with an American flag. We collected Desert Storm cards. Hulk Hogan beat Sergeant Slaughter, Iraqi sympathizer. This was all just seemed like a big fucking game to us at the time. I'm in 5th grade. It's funny. I punished myself for it. But I should have known better. Yeah, you should have been more socio-politically aware when you were fucking 11 years old, you piece of shit. Why the fuck weren't you reading Noam Chomsky already, asshole? What the fuck? What was I going to do about it? But it really puts things into perspective, what privilege really is. And how things would work out. And you're either going to be a part of the problem or you're going to be a part of the solution. And sometimes you can't help but be part of the problem because you don't know any better, or that's just what's going on. But you can always find a problem to help be a part of the solution with. And that's what I do now. And it's weird. It's weird to think about it. This stuff, obviously, if I showed it to my friend, she would just get upset. But it hits me different knowing several people who were there, and also knowing some veterans who fought in both Gulf Wars, who are very vehemently anti-war now. You're like, this ain't it. This ain't it, folks. Right. And I'm already on a soapbox, and you ain't even started the shower. I mean, I need to get off this right now.
This synopsis.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine, man. It's either going to get stated now or it's going to get stated later, I think, because it's one of the things we're going to have to address. All right, wish granted. Will Murray on script, Rodney Ramos on art, Pat Brousseau on letters, Santiago Oliveras on colors. All right. In the wake of a devastating bombing in Bombadad, a trio...
I wonder what that's a cipher for. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Buenos Aires?
I think it's France.
Right. I think it's Narnia.
Yeah. That's what you're supposed to do, right? If you want to write a story about a real world event, you set it in Narnia, right? That's how you get these things to be timeless, regardless of what your politics are. Your politics are conservative, your politics are progressive, whatever they are. You're supposed to. That's why we still read Starship Troopers today, because it's not I bombed Russia. It's I bombed a bunch of bugs. Let's have that conversation. Let's talk about why that was or was not okay. Yeah. But that's what we used to use speculative fiction for. This is a throwaway story, but it's not. This one would not be reprinted today. I believe that.
Oh, no. I mean, you really, it shouldn't be. There's very little here. But, you have to make it an official place, or you have to be really talented, like John Ostrander on Suicide Squad, and point out that this is, even if Iraq is engaged in terrorism, it's not as cut and dry as it can be made out to be. But this story... It was never going to do that. It was never intended to do that. This is masturbatory material for right-wing Islamophobes, and that's what it is. And a lot of those people are Punisher fans, and I've faced that a long time. Go on with the synopsis. Let me just start running the water. I put the soapbox.
It's funny because I spelled it exactly as it was in the comic, and Google Docs decided that no, you misspelled Iraqi. And put that in here. Yeah. We have a trio of irate terrorists.
Right. These people from Bombadad irate.
Rafiq, Shabouf, and Abdul plot their revenge. Their target, the heart of American innocence and Darry's vacation plans.
Been there, cannot wait to go back. I'm pumped.
The Wizzyland theme park on Flag Day, nonetheless.
The most national of national holidays.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Have you when I was a kid, I remember when I was 5, I was like, hell yeah, Flag Day is coming up. I saw that on the fucking calendar. I could read. As it turns out, Flag Day, not really a thing. No one gives a shit.
No one does.
All these people who are like, you stand up and you put your hand on your heart for the flag and all this Pledge of Allegiance stuff, ain't none of them celebrating Flag Day. Where the fuck are they on the day for the flag that they claim to revere so goddamn much? I'll tell you where they are. Wizzyland.
Wizzyland.
Probably.
Armed and determined, they set off on their deadly mission, hoping to exploit what they saw as lax American laws. Lily-livered, I think, was a word that they used. Their paranoia led them to attack. They're on the bus, and they think the feds are following them. All right. And at the back of the bus, they decide to unload. This is a charter bus, correct? This is filled with people who are going to Wissyland.
It's like one of the buses what run you down the coast, down the shore or whatever, right?
There you go. They go to the back of the bus and think that they're being followed by federal agents and unload their weapons into this van. And it turns out, oh my goodness, it's actually a Federal Express van.
Federal Express.
Yeah.
These. Oh gosh.
It's really their fault for tying themselves to the imperialist American pigs, right?
Undeterred.
I'm just kidding. R.I.P. that driver.
Yeah.
The guy from Madison Square Garden with the knife's brother, actually. Is a
Oh, wow. Wow. The one that actually had a full-time job and was straight.
Yeah. He was doing okay for himself.
Yeah.
But he had bought some Colonial Penn life insurance. Things will be fine.
I wasn't ready for this much death today.
You were reading a fucking Punisher comic, son. What are you talking about? You weren't ready
All
for
bets
this
are
much
off.
death. Jesus Christ. All the Punisher does is kill people. It's you went to the Cheesecake Factory and you weren't ready to see all the cheesecake. What are you talking about?
I had a heart attack. Walked into a Cheesecake Factory and had a heart attack with all the cheesecakes that I just saw. Didn't eat any. All
Can't
right.
believe these are here.
What the fuck? No one told me this. All right. Undeterred, they reached Wissyland where their assault began in earnest. Amid the chaos, they gunned down innocents and a security guard, not to mention Marvin.
I love how you just assume the security guard's a piece of shit. They gunned down some innocents and the security guard and Marvin the Mouse. Those guys were felons, okay? Punisher might have shot them. Who knows?
I think that's why he was there in the first place.
Right.
This
That's
just accidentally happened.
There's got to be some fucking reason for him to go to Wissyland.
That's what I'm thinking.
The least complaint about this story is why was the Punisher going there anyway?
Like, this is just, I want to know the actual story. Okay, this accidentally, he wasn't expecting this. I don't think he was. Maybe he was. Maybe he's been tailing these guys for a while and he's, okay, well, I'm just going to get ahead of them. They'll never expect me.
How great would it have been, though, if it had turned out that someone who was dressed up as Mickey or whatever was the Punisher's target when he, in his off hours, he was just a rampant park stabber or something like that. No one could figure it out. And Frank's like, I have to kill Mickey Mouse. And the whole, what the original plan was for the story was he was going around trying to knock out all the characters and eventually he has to shoot one of them. That would have been a great premise.
Right. He needs to throw one of them from Cinderella's castle, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Please do. Innocents and a security guard spreading terror with every bullet. All right. But amidst the screaming civilians and blaring sirens, Frank Castle was there. The Punisher's eyes burned with righteous fury as he faced the terrorists. Desperate and deluded, Shaboof taunted Frank, begging for death and proclaiming it their greatest wish. With a grim resolve, Frank granted their wish. His bullets found their marks, ending their rampage, and as the smoke cleared, his final words echoed in silence. Wish granted.
Wish granted.
All right, Dean, I got to give you the floor, man. This is, gosh, as you almost want to look at this and go, okay, it's parody, or they're trying, but you know for a fact that they're taking the shots at these people because of their culture and
religion, culture, etc. And people who made the mistake of being victims of a war that probably had nothing to do with it. Here's the thing, right off the top, a lot of these things aren't true, where they're intimating that Iraq had all these terrorist cells around the world. They didn't. And I know it's fake, but and that's what they'll say. That's what they'll say to get out of everything. But there's a thing called symbolic interactionism, and you're associating this imagery with those actions. And you don't have to. You can be like, well, it's fake. But if you do it for fake, people can correlate that with legitimate activity. They're like, well, they have all these fucking terror cells around the world. Is that an argument to never make fiction? Fuck no. I'm not stupid. But it is an argument to be careful what you intimate in regard to real life events.
Yeah, I know a guy named Abdul, and then you're immediately going to be like, look at this idiot. And it's...
Yeah, that's the other thing. They treat these folks like they're very stupid. It's wild how just they're infantilized almost. The Punisher's in this thing for 14 seconds. This whole thing, it seemed to be just mean-spirited. Look how Islamophobic we can be in one story to an audience that at this time won't really call us out on it in a way that even at that time you probably couldn't have been as Islamophobic in even Captain America or Batman. There was still some going on, but you would hear a little about it. This audience isn't going to care as much. Even me at the time, it's just weird to think. I used to think this was the coolest fucking shit. Look at these idiots. Blah, blah, blah. That's how they are. They worship death. They want to die. Blah, blah, blah at the time. And now I read it and I'm just like, oh, you poor young man. You just you thought you knew so much. You didn't know anything. And as George Harrison said, too, the more I learn, the less I know. So the more I figure out about anything, the more I figure out. There's so much to figure out. But one thing I'm glad I figured out was that this is just a hateful story. And there's not really much here that's good about it.
What do you learn? What am I supposed to get out of this? Again, there might be a story that you can tell about Islamic terrorists who are going to attack Wissyland or what the fuck ever and get something out of it. I said John Ostrander was able to do this a few times in Suicide Squad. Around a time when the Iran-Contra affair was going on, it's not like this was any less controversial. And I'm not saying there was no Islamophobia or no problematic elements of that, but you could see people with clearly defined motives, clearly defined characterization, clearly defined plans. Not just, here come the Three Stooges, but this time they're from Baghdad. What the fuck even is this? It's weird. It's incredibly off-putting in every way, and it's funny. It's weird to read it now and think about who I was then and who I am now, and all the points I've been in between, and just ponder about that. I think I'm a much better person now, and I don't take as much. I said I used to take a great deal of pleasure in this story, and now I read it with more than a hint of revulsion.
Mm.
And you can trace a line from the incredibly anti-Japanese propaganda to this, because a lot of those things are very similar. Would be, oh, we are just here to be very respectful, sir. And then actually they're going to stab you with a dragon knife or something as racist as they could possibly come up with.
Very, very caricature. That's that's exactly what I got from this. Now, and then, Frank is at Wissyland and he just happens upon these guys. Kills them. Do you
think that he found a bunch of his dead kids as tickets and he's like, well, these are going to go to waste. I better go turn these in and get a race in a remote control car or stuffed animal. Hey, Frank's my favorite. I can say it. Punisher's
Darry, just drive up there and give him some flowers or something. He needs to get out of bed. All right, Darry, I'm turning it over to you. I'm sorry. I
gotta be honest with you. I didn't get anything out of this story. I'm sorry. It's rough. It felt it was trying to be the type of thing you'd read in Mad, but it wasn't as good as what you would read in Mad, because Mad would have been funny and it would have been spending just as much time making fun of the people making fun of this. This was just, I don't know what this was. I can't believe it saw print even back then. It's not the worst thing ever made, but it's just, there's nothing there. It's not particularly funny. It's not particularly engaging. It's very cartoonish, and it's just really, oh, look how good you can feel about yourself because these three straw men are dumb and they misunderstand all these things and everything else.
And then they get shot.
It wasn't great. It really wasn't. It was a poor way to end an otherwise great anthology.
Yeah, and that's part of the thing, too, is just be smart. And these guys, I know research was tougher then, but it wasn't impossible. Be smart. If you're going to write about this stuff, a year from now, the predecessor of Al-Qaeda is going to set off a bomb in the World Trade Center for the first time. In 2001, obviously 9/11 is going to happen and Al-Qaeda is going to do that. There were just Islamic terrorist groups that you could have just used that you didn't have to tie to Iraq who wasn't doing it. That's a deliberate choice to engage in propaganda. Deliberate. Yeah. And that's my thing with it is you're right, Darry. There's nothing here. And the art's not great. Nothing's great. It's not funny. Everything is just about punching a country that they're talking about. Oh my God, aren't you glad that this threat didn't happen? Bro, America and the other 40 nations beat these guys in 7 weeks with an incredibly small amount of casualties on the side of the coalition forces. I'm sorry for all the casualties that happened on both sides. No problem. But that's going to lead to a whole other thing where, because of our sanctions and our bombing of wastewater treatment plants during the Gulf War, 1 million Iraqi kids are going to die in the 1990s. And nobody's really going to care. And this is the start. This is the kind of thing you have to overcome to try and get people to start to care, because this propaganda ties that symbolism together. And there's just nothing here. This feels like you could have just put anyone in the Punisher's place and then slapped it in Soldier of Fortune. That's where it fucking belonged. This is right-wing, hardcore, paleo-conservative, masturbatory material.
While you're reading it, get you a pizza, some McDonald's.
Jesus Christ. That hurts. That hurts. But I was guilty of that. I try and,
Look, dude.
And listen, we're in the first world now. So we're all still guilty of it to an extent. But you try and be aware and try and help where you can. I was in 5th grade. I didn't know. I was just like, yeah, that was the thing. Raw. We're the good guys. Let's go do this.
Right. You know,
imagine that an 11-year-old didn't know better. You know, hard to conceive that an 11-year-old might not be able to parcel out an intensive wave of propaganda from the corporate media and the American government and my educational system. Weird how that one got me.
I'll ask one more question and we'll get into the final thoughts of the book and we'll get out of here. Dean, off the top of your head, do you remember any other times where the Punisher got involved with Iraqis or the
I want to say Mike Barron and like Punisher 50 and Empty Quarter. Around that time he got him involved in it. It's also incredibly distasteful to me at this point, but not quite, because he fights Saracen a lot, who's a little more well-rounded of a character. Yeah, there's other stuff around the same time. Empty Quarter being very notorious for it. I said, I think Punisher, the Punisher storyline that leads up to number 50 as well, where he's tied to the big gun.
Oh, well, yeah. Hey, as far as this book goes, 4 stories, 3 out of 4. That ain't horrible. It's just that fourth one. It's tough, but
it's not bad enough to make me tell people to avoid the book. But I wouldn't pay more than $1 for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is fair. If anything, you're going to have a good time reading the Punisher and seeing him blow some people away. Or
just feel it ends after the silent story. Just put it down.
Yeah, that's fine. Or if you really want to discuss something and you want to read it and show some people, okay, don't do this. Right. Feel free to do so.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you got to justify buying the thing to yourself, it's a great example of what not to do, right?
Sure.
I'm not one of the people who says, hey, this old stuff is very bad because of some intentionality. But here, this was intentional. This is not the Monster Society of Evil. This is not someone just doing what everyone else was doing. This is intentional. This is a weird product of its time. Yeah, but I'm really surprised that this even got through an editor.
Yeah, it's about as subtle as an ICBM.
Yeah, it's really strange. And maybe it's just because it came out in that specific window, but it's just, even when I was reading it, I was like, how? Why would you do this? I had never read this before. I was excited when Dean mentioned another Punisher comic because the man knows all the good Punisher stories, and this one didn't disappoint. If it had been back in the day and this was one of the things you get because the school year is ending, this would have been great because you get a lot of done in ones. You don't have to worry about the next thing. What the man's done, you get to see him. The art was really good. You get some great writers again, Dan Slott, Peter David, Pat Mills. These are names that are still relevant today.
Right.
That little story is weird, but again, it's at the end. It doesn't take away from the quality of the other ones. It's not like everyone's like, oh, hey, it's not like the other caricature characters show up in the other stories or anything like that. It's just it's its own thing at the end. Cover's great. The inside cover's great. It's a nice, good comic. Dean said if you see it for $1, get it, and I agree.
Anything else to add there, Dean?
No, not at all. It's the first 3 stories are a fun read. You get to see Punisher in his prime. You get to see several different aspects of the Punisher, and he uses a barbed wire shooter thing. Yeah, I would buy it for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
Right. Go back to the RoboCop reference. I would just the last story, read at your own peril.
Yeah. We read it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal, guys. Let's go ahead and get into plugs. Dean Combe, tell them about the UnspokenDecade.com.
All right. Well, the UnspokenDecade.com has a lot of great articles, some podcasts up there. Come over to our Facebook page where we keep growing and growing. And 22,000 followers now. We're having a lot of fun over there. And if you're interested in the Punisher Summer Special or any other comics, contact Matthew Price sbcomics.com down in Norman, Oklahoma. He's always got something cooking. There's a little special coming up soon, and I'm sure if you have the Punisher summer special, if he's got it, he's willing to sell it to you. The $2 million for any issue of Supreme deal still on. If you want any issue of Supreme and you're willing to pay $2 million for it, he'll find it for you. But also willing to sell you any kind of normal comic as well, for a normal price.
We just need to start going. Call them up and ask them about the Supreme special, and then he's got to fit the rest of that on his end. He'd be like, oh yeah, $2 million for it. That would not be good for business.
I don't think so.
No. All right. Hey. Recently, this past Monday, when as we're recording here, it was me, Evan, and Chris Armstrong got together and talked about Image Comics Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 4. Cyborg Donatello, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. He's hanging out. The whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are hanging out there over in Image Comics, which was, oh my goodness, Highbrow. Highbrow was Larson's. Yeah. All right. Now, I don't think it was Highbrow when we were in issue number 4, but shortly after that it becomes. Anyway,
it came in under the Larson umbrella, though, whatever appellation you're applying to it.
There you go.
You got to apply the appellation.
I do. I do frequently, as a matter of fact. But yeah,
don't make fun of me, and I don't know why.
I'm not making fun of anyone. You kidding me? I love these phrases. No one uses phrases that anymore. I'm fucking excited when I get to hear you talk. You have a love for language. You have a zest for it.
Zest.
Well, thanks.
Yes. And then upcoming here on the Source Material Comics podcast, TMNT number 4, by the way, was Unspoken Issues this past Monday. Upcoming on Source Material, Lois Lane. We're still going at it, Darry. What do you think of that? It's the second.
Man, listen, there's masochism, and then there's you reading that Greg Rucka book. There's different levels. It really is.
Would you rather read a Greg Rucka book, or would you rather read this Flag Day story again?
Oh, I'll take Greg.
You know what?
You're asking Darry.
I shouldn't say that. There are a lot of creators that I out and out hate for a variety of reasons. Greg Rucka's not one of them. He's not a bad person. There's so many times where he gets announced or he has written a book for a character I like or concept I like or premise that I like. I'm like, oh man, that's really good. I cannot wait to put my money towards that, get it, read it in the thing. And almost always, 3 out of 4 times, this was not good. This was not good. Now I'm angry because I was looking forward to this and I wanted to get it and I read it. And I think I could do better. I don't think he's a bad writer. I'm not trying to say that. There's just that thing. There's just that thing, and he just for me he just doesn't have it. And Lois is one of those ideas where I was finally, this woman's getting her own book. She's one of the earliest characters in superhero fiction. She was from Action Comics number 1. She should have an ongoing book. She had one that ran for 10 years, and then he writes it. And it's just like, oh God, now we're not going to get another one for another 10 years.
Honest to goodness, I think all it was almost a vehicle to kind of explain shit that happened in the multiverse and how people are realizing their false memories. That's kind of what we get at the end of this thing. But anyway, yeah, you can hear
Godspeed.
Mark Radulich is not a fan of shit like that. So it was kind of fun to talk to him a little bit about it. He had his gripes about it as well. But yeah, you can check that out. That was this past Monday. And then, hey, myself, I got to guest on a TV party tonight here on with the Radulich and Broadcasting people on X-Men 97. That's Dean Compton. I'm Jesse Starcher. Over there's Darry. We're out of here. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Unspoken Issues is part of the UnspokenDecade.com, the home for 90s comics, blogs, and podcasts. Unspoken Issues also has a Facebook group you can join if you are interested. Just search the Unspoken Issues podcast and request to join. All of this would not be possible without W2Mnet.com, so make sure to seek them out for more podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please feel free to share, and we look forward to entertaining you again soon.
What got cut?
It's funny because so many people think the code was a government thing, and when you look into the history of it, it's like, nah, man, it was just like 3 people. You paid a fee for all your, but it was the easiest money-making scheme of whoever was running it. And now people who are very much against censorship in all of its forms wear the logo ironically. It didn't accomplish any of its original goals other than shrinking the industry and scaring away all these great people. So, I don't know. I'm fascinated by that stuff.
Yeah, the only good thing it really ever did was that is a really cool logo. No,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I have a bumper sticker of it. I have a shirt of it. Yeah, and
I love going to cons now and seeing the most alternative or whatever the word is, but definitely however these people have chosen to live their life would be the antithesis of what Dr. Wortham, would have described as the perfect life, and they are covered in it, right? They got it.
Right.
They got patches. They got enamel pins. I saw one person one time had it as a tattoo, and I love that because it's you saw a cool logo. You have it ironically. You are subverting its original intent as like a tool of the state, and unlike many of those other things, you've done that successfully, right? Most people don't look at that and think of it as a weird piece of fascist propaganda. They look at it and they think, oh, cool, old comics used to have that for some reason.
Right. With minority groups, it's called reclamation.
Yeah, reclamation, exactly. Yeah, and again, I'm not comparing it to anything that was
nothing that's serious, but it's a very similar feel. This is something that used to oppress people, and now it is something that unoppressed people utilize to show that that tool no longer has any power over them. But yeah, I'm not trying to say it's not the same as more serious minority issues. Reclamation, but that's probably the best term for it. But it's really good, and it's in the '90s when Todd McFarlane wanted him to Shatterstar to stab the Juggernaut. He said, "The code won't let you." Who's the code? Well, we're the code. Okay, well, let's do it. Well, we can't. Why not? Because of the code. Well, what's the code? Well, we make up the code. We'll change the code. It was all this weird shell game forever. And there's an argument that it was necessary because of the heat they were getting. I don't agree with the argument, but I do understand it and think it's sound. There are certain people who are like, there's no comic books if they don't do this. I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think it's true either, but I do understand the argument. I just think I think you just took the path of least resistance.
I think the problem is that, and I'm no expert, I'm no scholar, and I don't pretend to be. I think the truth of the matter is that in the mid to late 50s, the industry saw a chance to survive, right? The code was founded by 3 or 4 of the biggest money backers of this nonsense. Yeah. That's who paid to set this crap up.
All the big wigs except Dell.
Yeah, exactly. And Dell was like, we don't need you. We don't
need it. We're selling 2 million fucking copies of Bill Scrooge.
Who are you guys? Like, we don't care. We don't sell your stupid cowboy comics.
Dell comics are good comics.
Yeah. I think it would have been rough for a while, but I think it would have gotten better faster, because I think the problem with a logo that is you put a barrier to entry on new talent. Agreed. And I think I love Jack Kirby, I love Steve Ditko, I love all those guys, but a lot of them were holdovers from an earlier generation. We stopped getting new people, and in time we just got a lot of fans, and I do think that hurt us.
Significant additions in the 60s. It's like Jim Shooter and Neil Adams.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody else. Every other decade, you talk about a lot of people, significant ones, but it certainly held people back. And I think it was primarily to put EC Comics out of business. That's really what it was. Yeah. Primarily to dominate a market, to monopolize a market through, what's the word? It's not a monopoly, oligarchy. They wanted to make it oligarchic. They would run it, and anybody would have to go through their shit to ever get published. And I agree. Even if your fears were legitimate, you could tell when you read this stuff at the time, it was a fad. These people were going to hate rock and roll music in 15 minutes. Yeah. If you had just weathered the fad, and you could have, but it would have taken more people with the moral spine and integrity of Gaines. Nobody else would want to stand up, because it was easier to take the path of least resistance, while at the same time getting rid of competitors who we don't like anyway.
Yeah.
So, now, listen, a podcast about that, but go on.
It's the end result of a tiny off-the-books industry that runs into trouble. And then when it has all this pressure on it, it says, well, wait a second, we have an opportunity here to do something we want to do anyway, which is get rid of the guy that's making us all look bad. And they did that. And Gaines had just enough smarts and just enough money to hold on a little longer than they thought. And unfortunately, he shot himself in the foot. Really, at the end of the day, it's his testimony that makes everyone think, oh, wait, no, you might actually be a bad person. I don't want my kids reading comics made by you. You're a crazy person. Even though I think he's an American hero.
You up there, speed it out, son.
Yeah. So it's we could talk about this all day. People much more knowledgeable and well-researched have argued this point for many generations. But I do find it interesting that you get to the 90s and you have a code-approved comic where Punisher shoots a barbed wire gun at people. They couldn't put vampires in these things for years.
Right,
now I got the Punisher shooting barbed wire at people.
They couldn't put black people in them for a while. The famous
You
EC
couldn't in
story.
the 50s. That was the last
Right.
Yeah. Oh.
And here you have somebody using a severed finger to identify someone.
Yeah.
Like, things just move on. At this point, the code is probably a toothless tiger, and it won't last 10 more years.
Another
I don't
10
think.
years,
I think it's
right.
done by, it doesn't
10 years, almost to the day. Yeah, because Ecstatics is around by 2000, 2001. Yeah, no, it's gone. Archie held out for a long time, but again, Archie was a book that was never going to have anything kicked back to them. And I say that with many friends who work at Archie. So.
I don't know. Things are getting awfully racy at Pop's Chocolate Shop.
Yeah.
Well, times have changed. Now that they have a lot of books that wouldn't pass code.
I saw today that Tom King, of all people, is gonna be writing for Archie. So hope you guys are ready. Have a particularly miserable Wednesday. Jesus.
Can't wait for Archie's fucking Inception suicide story. That'll be good.
Oh man. Yeah, I think I remember hearing
Reggie is Dark Side, right?
Reggie is. Yeah.
One of the guys used to describe Tom King as the guy that, well, actually this applies to a lot of people that we probably talked about. Walks in and breaks the furniture, then leaves, and that's
walks right out. Yeah, walks right out. Right. Doesn't offer to help you clean up. Doesn't offer to put the stuff in the garbage. Doesn't offer to buy you new furniture. Just breaks everything and goes, "Aren't you glad I showed up?" And then walks right out the back door. Doesn't even close the door behind him. Just leaves it open.
I know somebody else like that.
Yeah. Let me see. Hold on. I'm looking. I'm trying to find the only way I can remember this is I've got 3 tombstones with their names on them, and Dean standing by him with a shovel in my head. He's got a shovel. He's got him right there. There's Jason Aaron. There he is.
Yeah, it's Jason Aaron.
All right, let's get into Bombs R Us.
Let's do it.
All right.
We'll use that as a bridge to Punisher. Hey, you should have read this before you wrote any Punisher.
Oh shit! Here he goes.
Except for the terrible one.
Oh man.
You could learn something from this.
I hope if he ever comes on this show, and I'm going to ask him next time I see him, I hope he says, "No, I only read the last one. That was it. The other 3 didn't interest me."
The other 3 I didn't read anything. He actually found a returned copy that just had everything else like this. Covers. He bought it for a nickel at a flea market.
Yeah. That right there is Independence Day. Now, you guys want to try and help me why they titled this that? Because I'm thinking fireworks. There wasn't really much.
I believe Independence Day. What's the name of the last story?
The story is called Wish Granted.
Wish Granted. Yeah. Why do they call? I guess he's free now.
The last story takes place on Flag Day of all fucking days.
I know, right?
I got to be honest with you. Since the fireworks appear to just be effects that were added later, I just assumed that this was a story that someone wrote and they were like, "Hey, it's got to go in the summer special." And the original title was probably, I don't know, Dark Phantom or something. And the guy was, "Now it's called Independence Day and it is going in the summer special."
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to crap on the art, but the fireworks effects, they're the same effect over and over again. It definitely seems like it could have been added later on.
Absolutely.
After the fact, yeah.
Yeah. This could have easily been. And then just be like, okay, it's got to be.
I'm not faulting them. I would do that if I had a shot to write a Punisher story, and they were like, "Hey, it's got to have something to do with summer. It's going to be in this thing." I'd be like, "Okay, hold on. I got to make a couple of edits. You'll have it by end of day. Don't worry about that."
I would center it around baseball.
Well, that is a you thing to do.
I'm not disputing. You're right. You go for whatever. What would you do, Jesse? You're going to write a Punisher story. It's going to be summer related. What's going to be your hook?
Oh man, okay. Everybody's going to the pool, and I don't know.
My God, I wish you sounded less excited about that. Everybody's going to the pool. I don't know.
Well, I don't know, man. Summertime. Let's see. Back in the 90s, what was it? Literally, it was probably hanging out with your friends, going to the pool. So we got to tie that in here somehow. The Punisher's going to get involved.
What I would love to do for a Punisher story set in the summer, I don't know if the timing would work, but I remember the Son of Sam in the New York area it was during a particularly hot summer, just a miserable experience for everyone. And it would be great if Frank was just sitting there, clad in black leather, thinking he's back in Nam and just being like, "All right, I'm taking this guy out, and just really deciding, like, I need to outthink a crazy person. I need to take him down. And just how bad do things get before the Punisher knocks out a serial killer?
That'd be a pretty good one. But it's funny, too, because I watched a documentary about that, and the city in, I think it was 77, might have been 78, was just on edge. And then I think the blackout happened around the same time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, like, also as funny as this is going to sound, the Kansas City Royals came to town. And at the time, the Royals and the Yankees had this heated rivalry. They had met in 75 and 76 in the playoffs, and they'd gone 5 games. And the Yankees had won both the playoffs, one of them a walk-off home run. And these teams did not like each other, which the fans hated this team. They had to have extra securities that nobody would run on the fucking field and, like, knock George Brett. And it's wild to see this documentary, to hear all that mentioned, like, yeah, we were dealing with the blackout, and people were Son of Sam, and the Royals were coming. Like, what? like it's like Sesame Street. One of these things doesn't belong here. But then when you put it in perspective, it does, because all of that stuff could make this thing, which is usually heated but innocuous, it could push it over the edge.
Explode. Right, dude.
Here, now we've got 35,000 people on edge here, and they hate these 9 people that they can see right now. Go Royals.
The Royals are coming. We can't stop them. The Royals are coming.
Royals are coming.
Can we just very quickly, because you said that, and I don't want to pass up this opportunity. You said he was the co-creator of Squirrel Girl. Anyone listening to this who doesn't know who the other co-creator of Squirrel Girl is, because the character is popular in a certain sect of fandom that I wouldn't necessarily think to associate with this, it's Steve Ditko. It's the guy who basically created Spider-Man. The Squirrel Girl is as canon, is as important, is as significant as Spider-Man is, if that's the way you measure these things. And I always get a kick out of that, because Ditko could have done anything in his later years, and they were like, we got a script for Squirrel Girl, and he's like, yep, fine, pass it over.
It fit into his thing, because he was very into very rigid good guy, bad guy stuff, and they don't come much purer apart than Squirrel Girl. Yep. And the big difference between Squirrel Girl and Spider-Man is I have the first appearance of Squirrel Girl, and I don't have the first appearance of Spider-Man.
Not yet.
Not yet. Hold on, I'm saving my pennies. I'll get it in approximately 5319.
I'm hoping one day to find a 1.0, a 0.5, just the worst. Does it have all the pages, maybe most of the pages and the cover? I'll take that. I don't want the good one. I don't want a copy that I would feel bad if something happened to it. I want a garbage copy, just so I can have it, just so I can say I own it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's doable. There's more than you think in that condition.
Yeah.
Do you guys know much about the Destroyer?
No, isn't
right?
He like he's a Punisher-like character, I believe. Like, he goes after the mob, right?
I don't know everything about him. I just know there was a ton of books, and a buddy of mine was a big fan of the Destroyer, which, by the way, became a movie was based off of this called something Remo Williams. Shit, it had the guy from Tremors. What's his name?
Bacon.
Not Kevin Bacon. The other guy. The Adventures of Remo, or yeah. Well, anyway.
Was it an American Tale, Remo Williams?
No, American. Five.
There was someone else in Tremors aside from
Remo Goes South.
There is somebody else other than
Reba McEntire was in Tremors, and also this dude who was on. I think the dude on Family Ties was on Tremors. Maybe
Michael Gross.
Was that him? Was he on Family Ties?
Yes.
Is that a spin-off of?
Yeah, Tremors and Family Ties are in the same universe, but it turns out it's the same universe. It was just inside the globe on St. Elsewhere. So
that one I know. That one I get.
Fred Ward. He was the other guy from Tremors. He was. Oh, anyway. You
broke into the wrong goddamn rec room where they just shoot him with all those guns. It's a great moment. It's arguably the best moment in the history of movies. Just
Fred Ward.
Shoot this thing with 90 guns.
I think Fred Ward played Remo Williams in an adaptation of some of the Destroyer stuff on film, and I remember it's not a very good movie, but I remember the purpose of me bringing this up is my buddy was a huge fan of those books, and one time I came across a cache of them at a yard sale, 1 to 80, and these are fucking tiny little paperback books, and I was like, you want me to buy these things? He's like, yeah, and she was selling them for 50 cents a piece, and I was okay, yeah, I'll take them. He was very, very happy. But anyway, that's
There's
the
Good man,
possibility
Jesse Starcher,
in the
good
lower
man.
numbers of those and Mac Bolan, the Executioner, as well.
Well, okay, that's Will Murray.
It can make the Space Mountain joke too somehow. He catches up to one of them in line. It's like the oldest ride in the park, but it's still got the longest line.
Ric Flair, baby. That's the only.
Is that a
reason,
wrestling reference?
that's the only reason I know what he's talking about.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Only
I can't.
reason. All right. Yes.
Is Ric Flair the one who goes woo?
That's
Yes.
why I just went, woo!
Oh, there you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Welcome, Darry, to 5 seconds ago.
No, I'm telling you, this is how I learn. I'd say every once in a while, wait, I know that. That's wrestling. That's a thing. That's a good
That's
tag
what he
team.
said as he got older, because he likes to intimate that he has sex with lots of ladies.
Ah.
So he would say, none of you can be first, but one of you sure can be next. And ladies, Space Mountain may be the oldest ride in the park, but it's still got the longest line. Woo!
Okay. All right.
And then he probably sexually harassed some flight attendant.
Oh well, yeah. We ought to tell Darry. Too many stories to tell you, Darry. There was a flight, in fact, that Ric Flair was involved in some crazy shit that happened in the air. I think it's called something from hell.
Plane
They
ride
did
from hell.
Thank you. Dark Side of the Ring did something crazy on it. All right, Darry, stop interrupting me about wrestling references. Okay, here we go.
Remember?
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm starting to see that a little bit. Yeah.
The
I
big
was just
cannon.
wondering.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if,
I
like,
think there are some other things that's involved. I don't know of anything else off the top of my head, but I wouldn't deny it or be shocked. I love the Punisher, and I love Frank Castle. I think he's the best character ever in so many ways. But that comes with a lot of problems in a lot of ways, especially with the fan base, and especially with the part of the fan base that gets a lot of fan service and almost comes to dominate what people think of as the Punisher fan base. But there's a lot of us out there who are just like, that's not really me. I really like the Punisher for these other reasons. Not that I can engage in these kind of weird, boy, wouldn't it be great if somebody killed people of a different skin tone that I'm irrationally afraid of stories. And there's a lot of other reasons to love the Punisher.
Right.
Especially when he punches Spider-Man when Spider-Man's not looking. That's great. Yes.
It's great when he punches Spider-Man. I do agree.
Remember in his second appearance, he knocks Spider-Man down from behind, and Spider-Man's, oh, no, not you. He goes, that's right, Spider-Man, the Punisher. That's great shit. That's what we want. We don't want this stuff.
I know.
Well,
I'm the first to remind people that the Punisher, this hyper popular character, has had multiple movies. It's his first appearance. He was trying to shoot Spider-Man with a sniper rifle because a man dressed like the Egyptian god of death told him to. These things have the simplest, most ridiculous origins, and they become something else. Fine, but never forget that was his first origin with one of the greatest covers of all time. But that was his first appearance.
that's
Well,
right.
one of the things that I point out when I talk, especially to Paul O'Connor, who does Longbox Graveyard, which is now mostly dormant, but there's still some great stuff over there to go look at it at longboxgraveyard.com. Marvel was very adept in the 70s at finding the permanent essence of temporary fads. The Punisher's all from that Dirty Harry, Death Wish feeling, the crime rising. Power Man, Luke Cage is obviously out of blaxploitation film. Iron Fist is strictly pretty much combining the Amazing Man origin with what people were watching in the Kung Fu exploitation films, the Bruce Lee films of the time. And these are all characters that are now 40 years old, and they're household names now in a way that they weren't then. And Marvel was able to do that, and that's incredibly impressive. DC can't sniff anything like that at the same time. In fact, by the time DC jumped on a fad, I believe Diddy O'Neill said, he's like, you knew it was over. As soon as we got our Kung Fu guy, we knew Kung Fu was done.
Yeah.
And that's fascinating because none of the rest of it lasted, but those guys did.
The thing about that is you're right, but it's important to remember too that all those characters you just named, they were not afraid to say, well, this isn't working. What do you got, right? Luke Cage and Iron Fist are okay on their own, right? He's a weird white martial artist, and he's a weird blaxploitation character, but they really lasted. They really became something else when someone was, both your books suck, just put them together, right? And then it was that buddy comedy thing of them dealing with 70s New York in the most ridiculous way. And the same for Punishers. Once they realized, oh, this guy's great. He's obviously not going to kill the Spider-Man, but he could crimes at 100% or whatever it is, right? So
Right, exactly.
let's let him do that. I think that's something Marvel's always been very good at. It's saying, well, I like that idea. I don't know 100% why, but I don't want to let that go away, and let's try something else with them, right? If you look at the first wave of Marvel characters in the 60s, the Marvel characters, they go through some reinvention, right? Daredevil and Iron Man and the Hulk.
The Hulk more so than anybody else, probably.
Yeah, they don't arrive fully formed. And that's Marvel's roots as being just like one guy, right? Martin Goodman says, hey, Stan Lee, as long as the comics keep making me money, do whatever you want. I don't care. And that's just him being like, I like that design. Bring that back, right? Oh, who was that? Oh, the Human Torch? Bring him back. No, make him a kid. I don't care. It's that thing of let's not be afraid to change stuff. It's like, I didn't really like those Cap stories in the 50s. Just forget them. Who cares? Skip over it. We're killing his kid sidekick. We're bringing back the Red Skull.
Steve Englehart will deal with that later.
Right. But my point is that guys like Englehart and Thomas and the other ones, they're fans, right? When they got on the book, they were like, man, I really wish those stories could be canon in some way. And I like Billy Burnside. I think those are good stories that you can tell now in the modern era about Captain America in the 50s and what he means. But at the time, Stan and his collaborators were just like, no, let's go with what works. And you see that continuing into the Bronze Age.
And the 5-year cycle that existed.
Yeah. Ghost Rider too.
Right? Those came out in 54, 55. Fantastic Four 61. There's nobody who bought those is reading these now. Who gives a fuck?
No.
I think the other thing that the characters, Iron Man or Iron Fist, Punisher, Luke Cage, Black Cat, even to an extent, if you want, Misty Knight, they get to exist in a shared universe. And that really helps too, where all of a sudden Power Man can meet the X-Men and you have this really weird, interesting dynamic back and forth. Which one is going to be the fish out of water? Who knows? I'm reading this Iron Fist epic collection. He's fought the Wrecking Crew. It's bad fucking ass. But that's something that if you're making kung fu movies or blaxploitation movies, that you really can't do that, obviously, especially at the time. That helped extract permanent essence as well, because they can interact with heavy hitters, Spider-Man, the Hulk, put Luke Cage in the Fantastic Four, etc. That's off topic, but we're going back to our final thoughts now. Mr. Starcher.